Hello, YouTube. There have been very interesting, unusual UFO sightings in the year 1981 over the Soviet Union, as I am sure they have been over other countries. But I pay attention to the former Soviet Union and modern Russia and countries nearby. I want to tell you about this sighting because I don't think you've heard anywhere else. And then we'll discuss for a bit what else took place. On May 15, 1981, at 1:30 a.m., a brightly glowing sphere hovered over Moscow's Vnukovo airport. It hung motionless for about a minute, and then a blinding white lightning burst out of the center of the sphere, and something resembling a solar corona flared up along its edges. The sparks went out, and a black square appeared in the center of the sphere, crossed by two luminous stripes. The object began to move away quickly, and the black square remained in place, gradually fading and dissolving into space. After this incident, panic began in the areas of Moscow located near Vnukovo airport. Several military aircraft took to the air, but they did not commit any hostile actions against this strange object. Soon the sphere began to move and disappeared. At the same moment, on May 15 at 1:30 in the morning, an unidentified flying object hovered over the Pulkovo airport in Leningrad. All the dispatchers on duty saw it. And in another area of the city, Valentin Psalomshikov, Russian scientist whom I mentioned in my other videos, very keen observer who had tremendous knowledge of the Soviet and Russian paranormal phenomena. He witnessed a mysterious phenomenon. He went out onto a Vyborg highway from the Ussr metro station, looked north, and saw the incredible, as Valentin Psalomshikov recalled. In the northeastern part of the horizon, at an angle of about 45 degrees, a bright disk twice as large as the moon sparkled. However, there was a moon in the sky too, but he didn't notice it right away. The disk resembled a daisy. Black, crescent-shaped, curved teeth radiated from it against the background of the lighter sky. Well, the unusual sight remained static for about 10 seconds, after which it seemed that the disk began to spin wildly. At least the teeth suddenly merged into a solid black ring, resembling an entrance to a tunnel. The disk swayed and began to sink into this tunnel with increasing speed, rapidly decreasing in size until it turned into a bright star. Not far from Psalomshikov, a woman stood mesmerized by the incredible sight. Psalomshikov asked her to put everything she observed on paper, and a few days later he became the owner of a unique document. The weather that night was calm and clear, wrote the witness, who gave her name as Inna Stepanovna Agraeva. Although there were no clouds, the stars were not visible. It was about 1:30 in the morning. Someone asked loudly, "What is it?" Raising her head, she saw a rather bright star that was rapidly approaching them strictly along a straight trajectory, increasing in size. It was observed at the angle of 45 to 50 degrees above the horizon. Soon the star turned into a disk of bright orange color. Its brightness continuously increased. Having reached the size of about 1.5 diameters of the moon, the object slowed down slightly and stopped. It had a perfect round shape, clear contours, outlines, and uniform coloring. Its glow was apparently its own, and it was perceived as a material body. Shortly before the disk stopped, something like a swirl appeared along its perimeter. More than a dozen black teeth bent clockwise. The teeth narrowed towards the end and looked slightly blurred at the edges. These swirls did not lengthen or rotate. The object hung motionless for 3 or 4 minutes. The teeth also seemed to freeze, and the object itself was perceived as a flat body quite close. Then the body abruptly turned almost 180 degrees and, starting on a more gentle rectilinear trajectory, went into darkness at high speed, gradually shrinking to the size of a star. For some time, crimson reflections were observed in this part of the sky. Agrayeva did not see the body turn, but it seemed to her that it was rotating around its axis as the individual teeth turned into a black ring that enveloped the disk like a halo. Agrayeva watched the object for about 15 minutes. However, it turned out that on May 15, the mysterious object was observed not only over Moscow and Leningrad, although everywhere it behaved differently and looked different. That's what the meteorologist Kulakova, who was on duty that night at the weather station in the city of Kalinin, reported. At 2:10 a.m., they received a call from the Migalovo military airfield and were informed that a few days earlier they had seen a moving luminous object that flew east, then west, and disappeared into the clouds. To the north of the weather station, she discovered a cloud glowing with a golden pink light. For 2 hours, it did not shift, but spread out, as a result of which distinct spiral-shaped traces appeared in the sky. At 2:30 p.m., Kulakova received a call from the railway station and was informed that an hour ago a fireball was flying from the north to the east. In front of it was a square in which a luminous dot with 2 rays resembling thin tendrils appeared. The sphere disappeared into the red cloud that formed near it. There were several more calls throughout the night. Eyewitnesses claimed to have noticed an orange glowing sphere with a bright blue halo over the city. There was a trail behind the sphere resembling the trail of an airplane. It happened in complete silence. Later, it turned out that on night of May 15, at approximately the same time, a mysterious object was observed in 15 more cities and regional centers. For example, Pereverzev, who was on duty at the weather station in Lodeyное Pole, saw a glowing sphere in the sky at about 2 o'clock in the morning, which left behind several bright stripes. The sphere was flying at the speed of a jet plane. Then it made 2 or 3 large circles, turned around, and went into a northeasterly direction, gaining altitude and increasing speed. The horizon in this area has been illuminated for a long time. On May 25th, Krylov and Lieutenant Nizdominoga returned to their unit located near Polotsk at 1:30 in the morning. The road they were traveling on goes in a northerly direction, and from the west and east, the view is blocked by a tall forest. Suddenly, from the eastern side, a fireball with a diameter several times larger than the lunar disk appeared from behind the forest. Bright lights shone around the sphere. After the object rose above the forest, the lights around it went out, and it began to rise and fall, increasing the amplitude of movement until it disappeared behind the trees again. The officers got out of the car expecting an explosion, but only saw the forest turn purple in the place where the sphere disappeared. And in the Smolensk region, resident of the city of Sychovka, Danilov, about 2 o'clock in the morning saw a column of white smoke rising from the ground, over which a small fireball gradually formed. When the fireball significantly increased in size, a star separated from it, flew up, and the object itself began to spread across the sky, turning into a cloud of lead color. The head of the Sychovka weather station observed this mysterious phenomenon for 3 hours. Having studied all the described cases, Psalomchikov marked on the map the settlements from which UFOs were observed, and he saw that they all intersect over Plisetsk. It turned out that it was at 1 o'clock in the morning that the Meteor 2 meteorological satellite was launched in Plisetsk. Now, skeptics believe that all observers of the unusual phenomenon saw a high atmospheric mirage that arose in connection with the launch. However, the commission established in connection with the incident concluded that the object that was observed in the night sky on May 15, 1991 was a body of extraterrestrial origin, and the light effect produced by it was intended to attract the attention of the inhabitants of our planet. It is even possible that by performing dizzying maneuvers and changing colors, space aliens tried to establish contact with us. And this is, of course, not the only incident where strange UFOs appeared at the same time that the Soviets launched one of their satellites. I'm sure the Soviets were not alone in this, and we should look at the American and Chinese archives. 1981 was a very interesting year, and even if we don't pay attention or don't have the abilities to or capabilities, I'm sure the military in all major powers, they pay attention and they know what's going on. And in my books you can read about the special program established by the Soviets to study UFOs after another similar incident, but in the 1970s. There is so much we don't know, but we shouldn't forget cases like this. And 1981 is a very interesting year, and I will bring more cases that took place in 1981 over the Soviet Union in the future. So if you like my research and you can support my research, you can do so through the links you'll find in the description to this video. Please tell others about my videos. Please like them, subscribe to my channel, and stay tuned. I thank you for all your attention to my work.